Hello, everyone. I'm Stephen Bartkus, the Executive Director at the Ridgefield Historical Society, and I'd like to welcome you to the Ridgefield History Club here at the Scott House. We're at 4 Sunset Lane in Ridgefield, Connecticut, and today's date is April 16th, 2024. It's so nice to see all of you. As a reminder, the Historical Society is dedicated to preserving and sharing Ridgefield's historical, cultural, architectural heritage from the indigenous people who lived here 10,000 years ago, all the way up to the present day. And we welcome everyone to get involved here by becoming a member or a volunteer of the Historical Society. I'd like to remind you about a few of our upcoming events. This Thursday, April 18th at 10 o'clock, we are partnering with the town's Commission on Aging, and we'll be having a COVID memorial service here at the COVID memorial tree in front of the Scott House with a reception to follow in the Scott House after the ceremony. That's free and open to the public, and we encourage everyone to attend that this Thursday. Also, coming up on Wednesday, April 24th at 6:30, we are hosting a talk with Mike Allen, and it's titled How the Battle of Ridgefield Impacted the American Revolution. That's Wednesday, April 24th at 6:30 at St. Stephen's Church, North Hall. And on Saturday, April 27th, the anniversary of the Battle of Ridgefield, at 10:30, 11 o'clock, 11:30, and 12 o'clock, we will be hosting Battle of Ridgefield walking tours down Main Street. We'll have a number of actors portraying people who lived during the Battle of Ridgefield, and they'll be sharing their stories in short, entertaining performances. So please go to the Historical Society's website if you're interested in getting tickets for those events. I think there's just a few left. And so for today, we are talking about Ridgefield's restaurants from the past and present. This is a really fascinating topic. I know that Jack Sanders, who we're fortunate enough to have in attendance here, who has published over 10 books on Ridgefield's history, has done research, and there were 17 restaurants in 1955, according to Jack's research, 35 in 1993, and 46 in 2015. So Ridgefield has had many restaurants throughout its long history, and so I think there's a lot to talk about today, and we're so fortunate that Betsy was able to find some very interesting photographs of some of these restaurants, these eating places, and you could see them on the TV there. That's a great menu from one of them. So the Historical Society's archive has these amazing photographs and documents from Ridgefield's past that everyone can access on our Past Perfect online catalog at RidgefieldHistoryClub04, and it's just a great way to explore Ridgefield's past. So with that, I hand over the discussion to you, the group here today. I'm curious to hear if there are any restaurants that you've worked in Ridgefield, or your family's owned, or maybe you had a favorite restaurant that you used to go to. If there were special, waitresses or cooks at these restaurants, we'd love to hear stories about them. Would anyone like to start with a restaurant that they remember from Ridgefield's past? Yes.
I hope Jack can help me on this, but on Main Street where Touch the Sedona is, there were 3 little stores there. It was the Belmont Restaurant, I believe, owned, or Neil Yankee had something to do with it. And my father's sister, Lil Drometti, worked there.
What is your name? Excuse me.
Pat Lygos. And then there was also Poor Old Cliffs on Danbury Road near the candle shop.
Cliff Hayes.
Yeah. And then my uncle by marriage, he's not in Ridgefield, but owned the Hayloft Restaurant, and he married my aunt, my other father's sister, Tina Drometti. And that was a great place for
My sister worked there,
to
yeah.
go there. Yeah. Do you have anything about the Belmont Restaurant?
Was it also called the White
Spot?
Spot? Or at some point, the same location?
There was a white spot in town, but I'm thinking it was up where, it may have been there, I'm not sure. I was thinking of the corner of Potomac Street, Main Street with the little,
I'll have to look it up.
yeah. But it took up 3 of those little stores. One was the bar, one was the dining room, and then I don't know what the other little section was.
I think Dick Venus had some stories about that place
Dick
in
Venus?
his column.
Okay.
But,
Nobody ever remembers Perps. Nobody ever went to Perps Cafe when it was a strip bar.
Guilty.
Guys, you didn't go there?
Well, you have a story about that, don't you?
Yeah.
It's X-rated.
No.
I don't think that lasted very long.
That was an interesting play because that was what was his name? I forgot his last name. Polo, yes. I don't remember how long it was actually. Was it more of a bar or was it a restaurant too?
It was known as a bar.
Who am I missing me going there?
Was it running?
What's that?
Definitely
And how many years was it going? Because it must have been here for a while.
Oh, God,
Forever.
goes way back to the
Yeah.
Pauly family,
Yeah.
way back to the 40s.
Was it always a strip club?
No,
No, that was a very short chapter.
Yeah, very.
that was a very short.
That was,
That was the time I was there.
when
I was in high school.
that was a Newkirk. Paul Rory owned it then.
Yes.
Oh, that was only a short time.
Yeah.
Yes.
It might have been
Very,
the
very
70s
short.
I went there.
Yeah.
It was a working man's bar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was, he went there after work and
Yeah.
had a beer.
It's still sort of like that.
Yeah.
A lot of pickup trucks.
I
Yeah.
can remember being there when, you know, arguments would break out and people would come through the door. Because it was divided. There was a
Yeah.
wall between the
Yeah.
dining room and the bar.
And the
Yeah.
Germans have a bar too.
So there always was a dining room
Yeah.
in there.
Where the ice
So, yeah. Well, it was where the pool table was
Yeah.
at one point. But there were tables there.
So it was a gentleman's club.
Yeah. And then when Martin McCarthy had it, it was really a restaurant.
The Mariner used to be quite rowdy on the weekends because they used to have one or two bouncers on Friday and
Is
Saturday.
that right?
Yeah.
That's been around for 50 years. I
Yeah.
think they just had it 50 things.
Really? So is that Ridgefield oldest existing restaurant?
No.
Who's the
question,
oldest,
though.
longest
So what's older?
running restaurant in town now?
well, it depends on how you look at it.
Yeah, in the same building
If-
or.
If you talk about a building that's had restaurants in it, this place over there.
The Hideaway.
The Hideaway is started in the 30s.
Yeah.
What's now the Benjamin started in 38 as a restaurant, 6 iterations ago.
How about the
The,
Elms, Jack?
what's that?
The Elms goes way
Yeah,
back.
But they're not open.
Anymore.
that's-
Oh, no.
We're talking about
They're still open.
Okay.
Still open, yeah.
the Ancient Mariners started in 74. Venice started in 72. So that's over 50 years, over a half century.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good.
What about,
Luigi's in the barn door
Yeah,
was
that's
an
what I was
old one
wondering,
down
yeah.
in Branchville.
Yeah, that's another place that has been since Jeans. It
Jeans
started
Grill.
out Jeans and
Right.
Luigi's and the 59 Bank and all kinds of. The place that was a weird color.
Cooper Tavern, it was a lot of names.
What was the name of the restaurant that Paul and Mary LaCava ran? It just,
Fife and Drum.
Fife and Drum.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
Fife and Drum, yeah.
Where was that again?
That got
was that
demolished.
Georgetown?
No,
No.
Ridgefield Pizza Hut was in that area.
Yeah.
Down
It's
near
right
Cops,
over there.
near Cops Hill.
Oh,
Yeah.
Pizza Hut, Friendlies before that.
Friendlies, yeah.
Yes, and Friendly's, yeah.
If you want a really great paella, the best paella is not in Ridgefield. It's in Branchville. The barn door.
Right, that was
That's
That's part of
Luigi's.
Ridgefield.
That was
That's
the
Ridgefield.
I thought it was Branchville.
Ridgefield.
Well, Ridgefield, Branchville.
That's like saying Ridgebury, you know, it's a part of Ridgefield.
Right.
It's not a town.
What is it, a hamlet?
I guess you would call it a hamlet.
Do we have hamlets in?
Not like New York, but it's a little village.
Yeah. Come on, you're from Reading, you should know these things.
Reading Roadhouse, but that's not in Ridgefield, so
No.
that's a famous place. Been in and
Really,
out
there's
of
Le Chateau or the.
Spinning wheel too.
Spinning wheel, yeah, another one.
By the way, Rich Lavatory was hoping to be here today. He lives up in Upper New England and had car troubles and can't make it. He's watching live. But he wanted to extend this comment that Nina's restaurant, named after my grandmother, was really the place to stop and gather for Ridgefield residents. A warm, welcoming atmosphere. And practically everybody here will remember Nina's.
They, Guy and Lavatory, they worked at Le Chateau. They're part of the Nina. So Nina was Lavatory, right?
Yeah.
Good Italian food.
Did you say Laboratory?
Good breakfast too.
Yeah, that's why I remember it as breakfast place. My father and sometimes my sister and I would go there, and you know, it was a nice place. You know.
They weren't over for dinner though, were they?
Later on they were.
Which one though?
Where was Nina's located?
Where Citibank is now,
Right at the head of
across from
where
the new
Danbury
country
Road and Main Street.
diner, country corner diner.
It's not
Is that gonna be a diner?
No, that's what they're calling it.
They're still gonna call it that?
Yeah,
Country
yeah,
Where are they gonna park cars?
maybe.
Yeah.
Or in Citibank?
I guess.
Well,
Joe's store.
they said that they have 16 parking spaces.
Really?
I don't know.
No, they
where.
will.
In the back.
by that brick building.
Oh, they're gonna have.
There's a
people
sign
parking.
that says additional parking in the back by the
In the
brick
back.
building.
Oh, okay.
So that's going to be another restaurant?
I think
Yes.
it's
I think it's a cafe.
cafe,
Cafe.
is what it says.
Country cafe.
Yeah.
The corner cafe,
Corner cafe.
That's tricky.
in very light gray writing that you can barely read.
Guess
So,
nobody eats at home anymore.
No, back in the 50s, you were lucky if you went out for an anniversary or
Yeah.
a birthday.
Right, exactly.
Now everybody-
Elaine Periandri Kellerman wanted me to mention this, and as Pat said, way back in the 40s and 50s, we didn't go out that much to restaurants as families, but what we considered was a great restaurant was the school cafeterias. Now, there were some very good cooks there. Alvina DeLuca was the manager of all the food in the schools, and she had Vincenzina Buccetti, she had some really good cooks in Ridgefield working there. So on the days, the most popular days were meatballs and spaghetti, meatloaf, and chicken fricassee.
I was going to say the chicken fricassee.
Remember
I
that?
remember.
And nobody brought their lunches those 3 days. Everybody brought lunch. And the food was made right there from scratch. Those cooks had had all that wonderful food for us. It was really a treat.
In all the schools?
Yes.
Was there a particular school that was done in another one?
Well, the old high
All the old
school.
schools.
High
There
school.
weren't that many schools.
We didn't
Grade
go
to
to any
12th
others, so I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
I think
wow.
they did stay for a while, even, you know.
Yeah, well,
veterans.
they were at the new high school.
Were they?
Well, that's where I went.
Oh, yeah,
And
that's right.
So that I remember, and also East Ridge
Yes,
Middle School, similar foods.
yeah.
Veterans Park too, they cooked
Yeah.
from scratch.
Yeah, they did, and yeah, I thought so too, yeah. They,
Many of them cooked at the Italian club, right?
yes.
Right. That's
Which was another wonderful
was-
place to go to eat.
Yeah, well, the Monday night men's dinners, monthly dinners, where people were lined up out in the street up here to get into them. They were so popular at the
Wow.
Italian club.
What made it a men's dinner?
Pardon me?
For men only?
Yes,
Well, they
Yeah.
have
Well,
women
then
ones too.
eventually they
yeah,
had.
eventually they had a woman's night.
Yeah.
Ladies' night,
But it wasn't at the same night
Not
that
the
men.
Women only.
I think it was all you could eat also.
All you
All you could eat.
All you
Yeah.
could eat,
Yep. Yeah.
and the best food.
And the men would wait on tables for the
Yeah,
women's
the
night.
members.
And the women would work the men's nights.
Yep.
Yeah, it was nice. What would have been the restaurant that if you didn't go out often, but like for something really, really special, what would you choose?
The Elms was
Yeah,
for
the
us.
Or the hayloft over here.
Or the-
The hayloft is a little more reasonable, I think, than
Yeah.
the Elms.
Yeah.
The Elms was really for very special
And
occasions.
the Hayloft had a diverse menu, a
Yes.
They had a
huge
huge
menu.
menu,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
they did.
So today, which is the best restaurant in all of Ridgefield?
Luke's.
Different opinions.
Well, let's hear some.
You know, today there's over 80 restaurants in Ridgefield.
Is it really true?
It's true. I mean, I have the list. It's incredible.
Crazy.
It's 80, and it must be the highest per capita town in Connecticut with restaurants.
Wow.
Well, I can only think of a hint.
This is how it started. I mean, the numbers you threw out, Jack, about numbers of restaurants back in 1935 or whatever, they were high numbers also.
Yeah, there's- this was a destination in the 30s, 40s. The Stonehenge,
Right.
the Elms, Outpost Inn was a very popular spot.
Yes.
The Fox Hill Inn,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Foxhill.
the Inn at Ridgefield, Toadies, went by various names on West Lane. They were all places that people from New York would come and the King Neptune.
Oh, yeah, King Neptune.
People would line up outside of the King Neptune
How
on
could we
weekends.
forget?
Yeah.
Get in there.
Started back then and continued through today in terms of a restaurant destination.
What happened to the family? I can't remember. They didn't
Yeah,
sell it
that's
that
where-
long ago, or that property.
There in
What family?
Red Line.
Whoever the original King Neptune.
Can you
Rico.
tell them about the
Rico,
Hungry
one of the Euricos is now at Gallo.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think the other two boys have passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gallo is closed now, isn't it, Jack?
No.
No.
It looks closed.
Well, it's closed now.
No, even at 5 o'clock it looks, well.
No.
Sometimes you go by, it looks empty, yeah, you're right.
When I became of dating age and driving, the place that we'd take the special girl would be the Hungry Night
Oh, yeah, the Hungry Night. I remember that.
for a steak.
Yeah. I think
That
we
was
went
the
there with
first-
the prom.
Didn't have any money, so that was a big deal.
Oh, it's cheap.
No, no. Yeah,
Was that the first salad bar?
I think so.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
it's the first salad bar.
The new restaurant that's opening there, we just ran a picture of it on Old Ridgefield, of the inside of it. I don't think it's quite open yet, but maybe, is Mexican.
Yeah.
But they have the same exact salad bar structure there with the same hanging, sneeze thing, guard. But all fancied up Mexican style now.
Tiled and.
Yeah, it's, these people spent a fortune on the inside of it. The murals they painted on the walls are out of this world.
How'd you get in there, Jack?
What's that? Oh, well, they have pictures, they have a Facebook page, and they have pictures of what it looks like, and it's,
And I don't think anybody has mentioned it, called La Chandelle.
Yeah.
It had this 700-pound candle in the window. And it's right across the street from the firehouse.
Oh, yes, that little building setback.
Yeah, it's a building that was set back.
Where the thrift shop used to be?
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
the
the
one
Rusty
Rusty
Nail.
Oh, the Rusty Nail.
was the guy
Apartment building.
bearded that ran it?
I don't think he had a beard.
Okay, this is not, I can't.
It was a family-run place. No, that's not it.
No, that's not it.
No. And it was a nice place to work. Nice. There were 2 non-family members working. I was a dishwasher, and then I became a busboy
Yeah.
when I moved up.
When? What year?
That was 70.
The pay was terrible, but I did learn how to a little bit about where to put the forks and stuff, and then I got a job at the Ridgefield Inn, That was a great place to work. And then moved up to Le Chateau. Le Chateau was there through high school and sometimes in college and summers. And then they were under renovation, so I went to the Elms. But then the tips were terrible, so that once Le Chateau reopened, then I went back to Le Chateau.
Better tippers there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But, you know, my parents, I was like 15, 16, 17. My parents thought, wow, our son's working. But they didn't realize, you know, the restaurant world, I mean, with the drugs and the alcohol and
late
the
nights.
fights. I mean, there were fights in the kitchen and drunken brawls, you know, inside and with the customers too. And there were a lot of interesting stories there. And supposedly Le Chateau was haunted. I never personally saw anything. Apparently there was a Japanese laborer that died. I don't know if you know anything more about that, but there were people that like getting locked into like busboys and waiters getting locked into rooms. But there might have been some drugs involved too. So. But there was that rumor. There was. I never saw anything.
That's
all
right.
years.
Yeah, there was supposed to be a ghost there.
Yeah. Because they always said it took 100 Japanese laborers a year to build.
They imported the laborers for that. That was built by J.P. Morgan for his minister named Rainsford.
Rainsford, yeah.
When was it built there?
1890s or turn of the 20th century. A little after, I think, turn of the 20th century, and he was a fascinating guy who had been a minister a leading minister in New York City, J.P. Morgan's church.
Yeah.
And which was not exactly a church of just rich people. And he encouraged poor members.
Oh, really?
Membership by the poor. He was the first Episcopal church to hire a black as a musician, and became the church's organist and musician for 40 years. The guy was a composer and knew Dvorak, but anyway, and his son, Rainsford's son, designed St. Stephen's Church. He was an architect. Stone church on Main Street.
You don't know when Le Chateau, they came in the 70s, right? So I remember the original owners.
It was an estate until, they called it West Fair for a while.
Oh, really?
The mansion, because it's on the Fairfield-Westchester border.
Yeah.
And the 70s was when 68, I think, is when they opened it up as a fancy restaurant.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of the people, but I interviewed them.
I remember we used to call him Cowboy. His name was Cowboy, but he was French. And then Le Chateau was passed down to Monica and Joseph.
Was that his daughter? The original owner's daughter?
Yeah.
Monique was,
Monique was, yeah. I don't know where she is now.
She lived in Ridgefield,
She lived in the
right?
back
She's still-
house. She lived in the back
still-
and then moved.
And then she lived in the house next door. They
Right.
built a house there.
Right,
Yeah.
for her, after the divorce.
Yeah. And then he bought the Roger Sherman. So he's at the Roger Sherman. Yeah. But they were running that for a while, but I guess it kind of went downhill a little bit.
It's now a venue.
Now it's a venue, yeah.
I guess it's doing okay.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to get married, it's available as a venue, right? Or if you have a baptism or something,
But they have big business meetings there too, I think.
Makes sense.
There was also another place on Route 7 called right back Twin Lakes. It was like the only
Alibi?
place. Pardon me?
Alibi?
No.
Twin Lakes.
Well, now it's a marble and kitchen cabinet.
Oh,
It's on the
right.
right before
That golf
Topstone
cart
Road.
place, yeah.
And it was about the only place in town where you could have wedding receptions. There were no other places besides the Italian Club, but if you didn't belong to the Italian Club, you couldn't have a wedding there. But in the 50s, that was a very popular place to have a wedding reception.
Wasn't it called Twin Lakes?
I think it was Twin Lakes.
Yeah.
Pat and
It's
I
right by the
looked it up
river?
one day.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right on the curve.
yeah.
White building.
And there's some water in the back. I don't know where the Twin Lakes are. It looks like just-
Yeah, right,
Looks
exactly.
like a little pond. or
There's
something.
there's like cabins back there, didn't you? Used to rent
Yeah,
cabins.
yeah, yeah. But that was very popular in the 50s for the people in Ridgefield to go to.
That's
Was
an old
restaurant
Route
bar.
7 roadhouse kind of place.
Yeah, it looks like it,
Yeah,
yeah.
What's that, Jack?
An old Route 7 roadhouse kind of place when
Yeah.
Route 7 was a big tourist route.
Yes,
Right, big antiques. route.
yes.
I once took a picture early in the morning. The cops called me and said, "Jack, you ought to come down here." A car had driven right through that place, the
yes.
restaurant, in one end, out the other, and into the river.
Wow.
That's a really bad corner.
Yeah.
Especially after a wedding reception.
Speaking of wedding receptions, I had mine at Fox Hill.
Oh,
beautiful.
Yeah. That's the most gorgeous view and
Wait, I'm confused. Fox Hill is where
Fox
the,
Hill.
Fox Hill Inn.
Fox Hill Inn.
That's what-
What year was that one?
69.
Oh, okay, so we still.
It's up on Bennett's Farm.
Bennett's
Road.
Yeah,
Farm.
As soon as you go
Yeah.
up there on the
It's
right.
Colonel
yeah, it must have been
Conley's
just,
old house.
yeah.
It was beautiful. Beautiful place.
Did it burn down or was it
Torn down.
Taken down.
taken down?
IBM bought the
I remember when
property
IBM
and
bought it, yeah.
decided not to develop it after neighbors complained about their potential use of helicopters.
Okay.
Right.
And they just let the house rot, and it
Hmm.
finally was torn down in '75, I think.
And all the gardens.
Yeah,
Too bad.
it's now Bennett's Pond State Park.
Yeah.
You could still see where the house was because there's pavement for the back driveway.
And the sumac trees, there's a whole bunch of sumac
Yeah.
trees up there.
I'm sure you guys talked about Woolworths, right?
Oh, Woolworths.
Not
I used to go there.
Oh, oh.
Best place in town, right?
I
Woolworths
remember
lunch
going
counter.
there,
Used to go there.
and the counter there, and you have
Having a hot
ice-
dog or
ice cream
ice cream sundae.
sundae, yeah,
Where was it?
milkshake.
Where was the Woolworths?
Where there's a gym there now.
Yeah,
There's
where
one
it's-
called
The
the
thrift
Liquor-
shop.
Yeah, in Congress.
Yeah.
Yeah, where the
Aldi's.
thrift shop is.
Thrift
and
shop.
Thrift shop, yeah.
Yeah.
Woolworths. It's
Yeah.
really big.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had parakeets.
Right.
That was
Turtles,
Woolworths.
parakeets.
Goldfish.
Woolworths
Right.
had been on, Woolworths had been on Main Street.
Really?
Right.
Yes,
right,
where
yeah.
the dance studio is.
Right.
That area.
yes.
That
Yeah.
area.
Yeah, right next to Allen's.
And Bongos was
And
there.
bongos,
Bongos.
Sunnywood
Yeah.
bongos, yeah.
Yeah, they had their own lunch counter too.
Bongos did?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't even remember Bongos.
Yeah, it had a downstairs and
Right, that was-
upstairs, yeah.
What was the name of the Western Union place up there that also served food? Bongos serve food, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't remember that.
It's probably gross though. Because Bongos was pretty bad.
They didn't have the Italian women working.
No, they didn't. Does anyone remember Cocardi? My sister Annie worked there. Cocardi was a French restaurant, I think, where
Luke's?
No,
Luke's, but upstairs.
Upstairs?
Terrace Soleil,
Yeah.
yeah.
Terrace.
Terrace,
Really?
yeah. And then she worked at Renee Chardin's. Anyone remember that? It's like West Lane and 123. It was a big mansion there.
Oh,
With
yes,
French
oh, yes.
restaurant.
And did that become a temple?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, what?
A temple, it was a Jewish temple.
West
It
Lane.
was
In South Salem,
Yeah,
123.
Yeah.
where the gas station is, or?
No, if you're going down, what's the road? Elmwood?
Yeah.
No, 123 is Smith Ridge.
Smith Ridge?
Oh, okay,
You can't see it. It's all enclosed with trees and stuff.
yeah.
Beautiful big mansion.
Huh. Is the mansion still there? Or?
Yeah,
I think so.
Is it private again?
yeah, well, it was private then.
Yeah.
But it's been a restaurant, it's been I think a religious, some kind of it may be now a religious, like retreat house for some very little known sect. It may be Buddhist, I don't know. It's, last I saw.
When we first moved to Ridgefield in the mid-60s, the place you went for pizza was Roma Pizza
Yeah.
on Main Street.
Yes.
That's where
Classic.
Planet is now.
Huh?
Yes, he was originally across the street.
Oh, it was
Yeah.
originally across the street even
Right,
before.
and then they made the big move.
Yeah.
Right. But that's where you went.
Oh,
It
that
was
was it.
before Cops Hill, before Venice,
Yes.
before.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was the big place.
That was the big place.
And the Tuesday.
Was
Wonderful
that the
food.
only pizza place in town?
Seemed like
It might have
Wow, I think it
Gerald
probably was.
Meddy's down on Danbury Road used to make pizza at the bar.
Uh-huh.
Used to be in front with the ice house, used to be in the back. They had, way back, a bar and restaurant, and they did pizza there too, which was very good.
I remember their ravioli.
Yeah,
Oh, it was the best.
And going back to Roma's, they would give kids a free slice of pizza or a pizza
Oh, yeah.
if they had a,
Good
you know,
grades.
an
Yeah.
A on their report
Yeah.
cards.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
They were very
Good to the
generous in it.
town.
Yeah.
They were very good to the town.
They were there a long time.
Yeah.
they're still giving scholarships at the high school, and they're not even in business anymore. Roma
Really?
Pizza Scholarship.
Really?
Yeah.
Who were they? What was their name?
Amatuzzi.
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 They still own that
George and
building.
Henry.
Yeah, they own the
George,
whole
George
thing.
They own that
Amatuzzi.
building.
Huh?
George Amatuzzi has the optometry
Oh, really?
shop
Yeah.
right there.
Huh.
They had a daughter and a son. The
Yeah.
daughter
Yes,
became an
Susie.
attorney.
Susie.
Yes, Susie.
I remember the Savonas on Venice, right? Was it Ivy's? I went to high school with one of them. Savone, or what was it?
I didn't know the names of the people that ran Venice. They weren't, I don't think they lived in town.
No,
Really? Because I went to school with Izzy, and he owned.
no, they didn't.
Izzy Savone? No?
I
He
don't
was my age. You went to Ridgefield High School, no? Do you remember Izzy Savone?
know. No,
I thought he was the owner of Venice. Maybe not.
Maybe that's what he said.
Yeah, right.
Then there was Lick Santini who owned the little cafe spot in the
Luncheonette?
corner. Yeah, on the
Or
corner.
Newman's
of,
is.
yeah,
Right.
on the corner of
One
Toma
of those
Lane.
pictures.
And he had
shows-
great catering business. He
Yeah.
catered
Mhm.
my wedding
Huh.
at the community center.
Wow. It's on here, I don't know.
He used to do the Ridgefield Press's Christmas parties.
Oh, did he?
Oh, he would take, it was how we learned how to cook sausage. He said, you bake it for, I think he baked it for 6 hours total.
Wow.
At 200 degrees. The first 4 hours, you just drain off the fat. And then the last 2 hours, you put white wine in, cover it with foil, and let it steam. And then he would cut it in little chunks for hors d'oeuvres. And they were just like melt in your mouth. It was so good. Of course, it was really good sausage, I'm sure. That was the,
Pork sausage.
of course, yeah.
And then the, what do you call it? Friendlies, that was our big place. We used
Friendlies.
to, 70s, you didn't like that? No? As a little kid, though, that was a good place.
I could tell you a story about little kids in that place that would.
Okay. My sister Connie worked there.
Connie
forever.
worked there. Connie would, you'd go in and Connie would say, don't even.
Don't order that. Well, if she met her future husband there.
Still there.
I don't remember the Grants lunch counter, though. There's a picture of the Grants.
Yeah.
I don't remember the Grants one.
And my
That's really
sister
good.
Bradford House.
in
Oh,
high
really?
school. Yeah, the high school girls used to work there in shifts. Yeah. That was the first store I think that was in that spot, right? Wasn't that Grant's?
Grant's,
Yeah.
yeah.
Cops
Yeah.
Hill.
Green
Then
Caldor.
it became Caldor.
Caldors, right, exactly.
Yeah. Grants.
Right, the lunch counter, breakfast,
They
lunch.
lasted only 4 years.
Is that all?
Grants was only there for 4 years.
Yeah, well, the mother company went belly up
Yeah.
in '76,
Oh, really? Okay.
and same with Caldor. That's why they closed.
Yeah.
But Kohl's left. It's still got 1,100 stores around the country.
That was
Yeah, I know,
Santini's.
that's good.
What other places were in that restaurant? There were a
Bob
few.
Stoley ran it
Yeah.
afterwards, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the Scala family too had it.
In the
Yeah,
very
At
beginning.
the
That's
very
was John
beginning,
Scala's
Mr.
first.
Mr. Scala, John
Yeah.
Scala.
Because they
And
lived
his
upstairs,
brother.
they lived upstairs in that
Yes, and they
building.
lived upstairs, yep.
Yeah, I remember the Elms,
Used to be upstairs.
Elms Inn, we lived right nearby, so we used to sneak into the kitchen. And they would give us food, but not that we were, they were very nice. But Mario Scala's father, Mario was the cook then, and his father was the original chef, but he was getting too old to cook, so he sat on this high seat with a chef hat on, told everybody what to do. It was really pretty amazing, the kitchen in there.
There were a couple of small restaurants down near Stop and Shop. It's now a parking lot, but there was a little one on the corner called Pickles.
Oh, yeah.
And I
Also
think-
33.
33
Yeah.
What was that one?
33 and a third.
Yeah.
That was the same as Pickles, right? Same
Yes.
spot?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Pickles, right, I couldn't remember that.
And they're connected to the people who own Bartolo.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
It's his sister,
I think the sister.
Michael's sister.
Yeah.
Just one other restaurant, it's not in Ridgefield, but when we were growing up in Ridgefield, the place to go is still going, and that was Bethel, Sycamore, with the car house.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sycamore, yeah.
See the old cars.
Yeah.
That's true. Still
Well,
doing
in the 50s, when I was in high school, it was Rudiments we all went to after any function as high school kids.
Is that the diner?
The diner where BMW is now.
Yeah.
That was Rudiments.
Was that Rudiments?
Yes.
Yeah, Rudiments Diner,
On Route 7.
on Route 7,
The picture is there.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's it there.
that's the diner.
Oh, the El Dorado.
Oh,
Eldorado was the place to go.
When we didn't have
On
pizza
Lake
here,
Avenue.
we would go to
Oh,
Lake Avenue.
place.
Before
They-
Rome,
Yeah.
it was El Dorado.
And
Yeah, I was
Old
gonna
Oak
say
was
the Old
in
Oak was the
town.
one
What
that
was
I.
the El Dorado? I can't,
It was on Lake Avenue.
Is
Yeah.
it,
What?
isn't it the social security building?
No,
No,
office?
it's near there.
It was.
It's near
Oh,
the
it's
There's
down-
an
it's down there.
Irish,
It's up the hill a little.
It's near an
Yeah.
Irish.
there's an Irish.
Hibernian.
It's
Oh, the
Hibernian.
Irish Club.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
New
The
York
Hibernian.
owns it.
Oh, I remember that, yeah.
That's where it
That was a
turned,
great,
that was the
great
place to go.
Yeah.
So,
We used to go to it was more of a bar, but not the Four and the Foundry, right? Was it the Foundry?
Oh, yeah.
On Route 7, right on the Danbury line, right in Danbury.
Oh, where Sugar
Off
Hollow.
of,
Yeah.
Sugar Hollow Cafe.
Yeah, Sugar
Right.
Hollow,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
You must have hung out there, no?
No, well, we went there sometimes, but we
Oh,
didn't.
really? That was like,
I think that's when the Piats owned it, right?
Huh?
Piat family.
Piat. Yeah, I remember that name, yeah.
Woody P.I.
And then it was the
Manifest.
Down Under, that Al Jefferson.
No, it wasn't down under though.
What was it?
It was called the Country Roadhouse or Roadhouse.
What was it down under? I remember that too, but I can't
That's
picture.
when it became a gay bar, but it was,
No, that was Triangle.
Triangle.
Was it Triangle?
well, it was down under for, well,
I don't think, but I remember going to the Down Under. I don't think that was a game.
what was that, rockin', there was a lot of rock?
It was a rock, kind of a rock bar.
It's still going.
But now it's
Sugar Hollow
the
Cafe, Sugar Hollow Cafe.
Sugar
is
Hollow
still-
Cafe.
Yeah, but the Jeffers lived in Ridgefield and were good cooks.
Yeah.
He and his wife, right?
Yeah. What was her name?
Jeffers,
And she worked for Parks and Rec, and
yes.
Donna.
the
Donna's the
daughter,
daughter.
Donna, worked
Yeah.
for Parks and Rec too.
Wasn't there a motel back there?
Yeah.
There was.
It was,
Maplewood,
Pond.
long time ago.
Maplewood.
Maplewood.
Maplewood,
Big.
The one Mrs. Finch
It
owned?
was actually a hotel back there.
yeah. A hotel.
Yes,
Door.
yes.
Yeah.
Green door.
Oh, the green,
Oh,
isn't
yeah,
the
don't
green
forget
door
the
up
green
on
door.
7?
Yes,
Wasn't that a liquor store though?
It's a liquor store now, isn't it?
yes, it now,
Sounds like
yeah.
Now it's a
Yeah.
liquor store. But
What,
it was
the
a
Green
John's
motel.
Best
It was a
Restaurant.
motel.
What was the
The motel is now the John's
Right,
Best
John's
area.
Best.
There used to be a liquor store there too, because I remember buying there, it was an easy place to buy underage.
It's full of good
There was a restaurant up there called the Country Kitchen.
We were trying to think of that.
The
Is that at
Fi-
the traffic
Finch.
circle?
Mrs. Finch.
Finch.
Right,
Yeah.
Yes,
Finch.
yes, that's right,
Right.
that's right.
Circle, the Circle
Oh,
Circle,
restaurant.
yeah. Oh,
That's
okay.
when the traffic intersection was a
still
circle
refer
up
to
there.
that as the
So
circle.
we still call it
That's a
that.
circle.
And Joe's Corner was a
Joe's
Rotary too,
Yes.
yeah.
We still call it
That had a
Down
rotary?
at the
Yes.
sun.
Oh,
Yeah.
it should have it again.
Yeah, well, both,
On Memorial Day, when we marched
Oh, yeah.
down the parades that
Yeah.
long, and the bands would compete with each other as you made the
Yes.
turn, and you
Ah.
could see who could outdo, yeah.
Speaking of 7 and 35, there was the Red Lion restaurant
Yeah.
for years and
Yeah, the
years.
Red Lion.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
An old dog kennel.
The old-
Right.
exactly.
But is that building, was that a restaurant ever, the old mansion, the Outpost Inn mansion?
Was
On
a
Route 7.
restaurant.
The
You mean the
Outpost Inn
stone-
was on, where Fox Hill Condo.
No, but where the, what was that mansion, that was part of the
The
estate?
Fox Hill Inn was up on,
No,
where
but the
this-
one on Route 7, the old
He
house
means the
up there.
Stonehouse Commons.
what's
Oh, that was the office for Outpost Nurseries.
Yeah, but wasn't there some kind of restaurant there, or was it always just Fox
Red
Hill? I
Lion.
mean, Red Lion.
Red Lion
Okay.
was
Red
next door.
Lion.
That was right next door. Okay.
Hungry-
The Red Lion was the
Oh,
kennel
yeah.
for the Outpost.
So the Red Lion was the kennel, okay.
Yeah.
And that was the office,
The stone building.
stone building, okay.
Nice office.
Yeah?
I went to high school with a girl that lived in that house, Nancy Dunbar, who became Nancy LeClaire, and we went to a few parties there.
And then the ice cream store, was that originally Carvel, or what year was that?
Carvel's.
77,
Carvel in the
78.
60s, yeah.
What?
It's 77, 78 is when it switched.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did Felix buy it then?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
And
He was a wonderful employer of high school kids.
Yep.
Yes.
my brother
Yeah, I remember.
worked there for quite a while.
Yeah,
My daughter worked there for him.
yeah, our son worked for him.
Yeah.
He was very strict, he had
Yeah.
expectations, but
Yep.
understand it's closing now?
I don't know whether it's closing. I know it's had issues with getting enough people, and that also is a bad corner. And
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
gets in and out.
I heard that was for sale,
Yeah.
I heard it was for sale.
you know, just like the Marin.
Is there a pretty good chance they might take that down, the building down?
Yeah,
Or?
you take your life,
I don't
you
know.
Seemed
come
like
out of there, take a left.
Yeah.
It
We
was,
gotta make a right.
You gotta make it right.
And
it
then-
was interesting when Mike, our son,
It's
worked
two
there,
lanes both
they were
ways.
like,
Yeah.
It's awful.
it's all metal, that building, right? And you couldn't touch two different counters to get a shot.
Oh,
Wow.
Rule number 1.
That was early instructions.
It is built like a bunker. It's like a cement block rectangle
Yeah,
with little windows.
except in the front.
Yeah.
It's not in Ridgefield, but in North Salem, we used to go to Johnson's. Johnson's where 121 is.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Used to be kind of like an old kind of neighborhood bar.
and
Yeah.
Donley's was near
Donley's
there
when we
too.
were kids.
Younger, you're older.
Well,
Donley's,
that's when the drinking age was 18,
18.
New York, and
Right.
21.
right, in Connecticut.
Right.
Where was Donley's?
Right out, right next to Johnson's, right before it.
Near the market is now.
You know where the market is?
Peach
Oh
Lake
yeah,
Market.
All right, you're
that used to
coming
be
out of
Joe's
that
Beach
road.
Lake Garage.
You go
Yeah.
straight ahead, it was Donley's.
No,
Then there was a gay bar across the street.
Right,
That's
Birds
it.
of a Feather.
On
That's
Birds
it.
of Feather, yeah.
Right,
Now there's hayfields
Yes.
right there.
right.
yeah, Hayfields.
What's the name of it? Hayfield? Oh, that's the,
That's on the other
fancy-
side of the street.
The old,
but what's the,
That's on the
what's the
other side.
restaurant
Is that the
called
other side?
now?
That's on the
121.
other side, Pete.
121?
yeah, yeah.
Hey, my friend Greg, who's the Bassett's. I don't know if you know the Bassett's.
Go
He grew up
The
there.
Bassett's.
I've been in there.
He was big into construction, but his mom used to live
My wife
in
and
that
my
building.
mother would walk from our house there
can't remember what the name was.
The other place we used to go,
Oh, yeah, you
when,
just go the back way?
not too long, I think after the ancient mariner opened, that same kind of environment was Touchstones,
Oh, that's right.
Touchstones, yeah.
which was, in that parking lot.
That was a good spot.
Yeah,
I'm going way back.
yeah. it was
Lasted a
same-
long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was always crowded. Touchdown.
Yeah, and the crowd, sometimes, I don't know why, they would go to the Mariner or something for a while, then it would be over to Touchstones,
Right.
you know, I don't know why.
Well, we had our circuit,
Yeah,
like the
Yeah.
Foundry, Mariner, Touchstones, yeah.
Georgetown had a few interesting old bars.
Yeah.
Georgetown Cafe,
Yeah,
that was a good one.
Yeah.
and
The tavern,
Oh.
right?
the tavern, yeah, or
That was live music.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
a good place.
it's not Vox, before Vox.
They tried to open up a couple of
Peppies.
times again.
Yeah.
That was
They
the
never really-
original.
It's hard to recreate that, but, and the Old York Pub, which
Right.
was then, the Little Pub,
Yeah, yeah.
is
it
now
was
gonna be the Black Cat Grill,
Right.
which is moving from Georgetown over to there.
Yeah. That's taken a while to.
That seems to be a bad luck location.
Didn't Luke's buy it?
I think he put a lot of money into
Yeah.
renovating.
And then,
Never went into it.
well.
then
was
COVID
that when
hit.
COVID.
Yeah.
And then Gallo owned it for a while.
Yeah,
Right.
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they did actually have like a soft opening, and then it just shut down.
Nothing.
Yeah.
We also had a good soda fountain in town when we were growing up, with Squashes.
Squash?
And,
Oh, yeah.
And Bissell's.
and Bissell's.
I remember
And that-
Bissell's.
Pardon me?
Yeah, I remember Bissell's, but I can't remember Squashes.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
I
that was
remember
great.
at one point Squashes had ice cream for 10 cents, and when he went to 12 cents, everybody boycotted.
Those were the days.
But you could get, you know,
Best ice cream sundaes and sodas at Squashes,
Is that
yeah.
a bigger space, or was it always the same?
Same
Same
space
space.
Wow.
as it,
Where did the fountain run along the,
On the left.
on the
On the
left,
left.
as you
yeah,
walked
when you
in,
walk in.
where the
Were the,
cash register and everything is.
It was there.
was
Right.
Now it's completely,
ripped out.
just saw it the other day, completely different now.
what's
Nobody's
happened?
in there now, right?
No, it's all opened up, it's nice, very nice.
How about the people that work there?
The people that work there,
Cookie and
PNP.
Pete Casagran?
Yeah.
They were
Oh my
Linda
gosh.
Rogers.
Oh, they were the best.
And,
Are they
and
still
Flor-
around, or still alive?
I
Or?
don't
No.
know.
And Florinda.
Florida.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Mark Travellini
Yeah.
took it
Squash's
over
son,
when his
yeah.
dad retired.
Yeah.
That was a great place.
There was.
The newspapers were out
that
at
one.
4 o'clock in the morning,
Right.
Yeah,
ready for people to pick up.
Rudy Marconi always recalls going in to help put the New York Times together.
Yeah.
Right.
At what time?
The New York Times, because it was the Sunday edition was like huge, and all the sections came
But
separately.
really early?
They'd be
Yeah,
piled
they'd
up on
be
the
there like-
sidewalk.
Right.
Yeah,
outside the store.
Yeah.
probably what, 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
they'd be in
4 or
there.
5 o'clock.
Wow.
And your Uncle Pete was there too.
Right.
He
Oh,
was
yeah.
always there,
Always.
that time of the morning.
I think Jack had a picture of them shoveling the walk out front. Cookie shoveling the walk.
Right.
Getting ready for them to open. Wow. That was a great place, Squashes. It was a real institution.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ridgefield.
It was, it was.
I used to always buy my date books there.
Yeah. Was it 60 years?
Agenda.
Maybe more.
Gale's
60.
Station House.
Oh,
Oh, yeah,
Good.
yeah.
Betsy knows that well.
Yeah.
Used to work there.
That was where Burnetti's
Reading.
was, correct?
Right.
Yeah,
First,
then
it
went to
was-
Reading.
Yeah, first it was in
That
West
building is
Reading.
gone now, the one
And then-
that was in Reading.
Did
It's
you
been-
house?
it's been
Almost.
leveled.
Oh, the
not-
building
There's
is
still
gone?
some
Yeah.
standing, I was by there the
Oh,
other day.
okay.
I think it may be in
Check that
a
out.
historic
Oh.
district that they can't take it
Where
over.
was it? What
By
part?
the-
Oh,
Right by the
West
train
Reading,
station.
By the
Oh,
railroad
train
station.
station.
Yeah.
Oh, West Reading.
yes,
Oh,
West
okay,
Reading,
yeah.
That was the original Gales.
yeah.
But did they keep both of them open
For a
for,
little bit.
for a time?
And
Yeah,
then they
Yeah.
sold the West Reading one and just kept the Ridgefield.
that was quite a place.
And that's
That
what
was-
caught the building on fire and burned it down.
Gales
They,
did that?
yeah.
I didn't realize that. The kitchen upstairs or down?
Downstairs.
Down? That high wasn't working.
Where was it, on the side of the post office or the little plaza?
Where the tavern is now.
We're talking about the Ridgefield
The
one.
lantern.
Oh, the Ridgefield one.
Where the
Oh, okay.
lantern is, that's
Oh,
where it
okay,
was.
okay, okay.
In West Reading by the railroad station, there was a restaurant for a short time, I know it's not Ridgefield, by the railroad station called Clemens,
Yes,
after
yes.
Mark Twain.
Yes.
And my son worked there for a
That was
while, and he would pour wine, and he would be asked for wine recommendations, and he said, I'm sorry, I'm not allowed to drink it, so I can't give you a recommendation. I can pour it, but I can't drink it because he was in high school, underage.
Well, there was the Emporium.
Country Emporium.
Country across the way that had a little restaurant too, right?
Yes. They were famous for their dilly burgers.
Yeah. And all their stuff. That was a great
Yes,
place.
candy place.
You must be missing something.
Someone's coming to work. Oh, it's
How you doing there?
Hello.
Special delivery.
Thanks.
Are you coming back later?
I have a question about changing foods through Ridgefield's history. For some of you who have lived here a long time, have you observed any new foods that have come into the community that weren't there years ago? For example, maybe Chinese food or sushi. Was that here in the 40s, 50s, and 60s?
In the 50s, there was a Chinese restaurant in Cops Hill Plaza.
Cops,
No.
Dragon Inn was the first
Next
place.
to the movies. There was a
Yeah,
movie
that
place.
was, that would have been 73, maybe they opened. They were a little later than when the first stores opened there. But
Across the
Dragon
street.
Inn.
Dragon Inn, yeah.
The Dragon Inn
So
was near
Chinese.
Encore Books.
Yeah.
Remember Encore
Yeah.
Books? It
Yes.
was near there.
And then Mannon came
then
in to
Mannon,
replace
yeah.
the Ice House too. And that's how long ago?
Yeah, that's quite a while ago.
Yeah.
They've been there a long time,
Yeah.
yeah.
But Lotus had the best Chinese food.
Yeah, it was good.
That was, when it started, it was really top notch. And he went on and had a restaurant down in Westport that was quite respected and well reviewed. But he had a tragedy happen, right? Jeff Liu, who was
Jeffrey
the
Liu.
owner.
But didn't he have a restaurant on Grove Street? Didn't
No,
he go
he-
back up
he-
there?
No.
No?
I don't
Remember,
think
remember the one on Grove Street, right across from the Italian Club, where Gallows is now? Didn't he manage it at one
That
time?
was Entree Lou, wasn't it?
No, I don't
It's a
think so.
French
Jeff
restaurant.
Liu
I
was,
remember these names.
he apparently hit somebody with a car and killed him,
Oh, gosh.
a pedestrian, and it just, he just fell apart. But the press gang used to go down to Lotus from time to time, and then when he opened this place in Westport, he invited us all down, and I mean, there were 12 or 15 of us for this like 8-course dinner.
It was a
We
New
just-
Year's, wasn't it Chinese?
Chinese New Year's, I guess, and just layer after layer of really good food. But I can remember we were all kind of taken aback when they served this big, long fish that was complete with head and eyes and everything.
Just like a Christmas story.
And I'm not a fish eater myself, and several others weren't.
That's great. We had a little issue with the recording the first 5 or 10 minutes, and I wanted to just get a couple stories again, just very briefly. The cafeteria story, Barbara, could you share that again? The story that Elaine Kalman told you about the cafeteria food, just because we didn't get that on the recording.
Well, when we grew up in the 40s and 50s, we didn't go out to restaurants much to eat. So our idea of a good restaurant was the school cafeteria. And Mrs. Elvina DeLuca was the food manager for the schools at the time, and she had some wonderful cooks cooking all the lunches right there from scratch in the cafeterias, like Mrs. Buccetti, and our favorite meals that everybody bought were the meatloaf, spaghetti and meatballs, and chicken fricassee, which still today we all talk about. That was so good. And that was our treat. Well, like going out to a restaurant for us.
Thank you.
It
you
wasn't open to the public, right?
No, no.
I'd love to have the recipe for that chicken fricassee.
Yeah, somebody put it online.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
And the
I can't remember.
Italian
I'll
roast
get
chicken.
it. I'll give it to you.
But it
I
never
think I-
tastes the same.
I can
Those
get it
ladies.
for you.
Great.
Jack, could you also read what you have about Nina's? I don't think we got that on the recording.
This is from Rich Laboratory, whose family operated the restaurant. My only comment is that Nina's restaurant, named for my grandmother, was really the place to stop and gather for Ridgefield residents. A warm and welcoming atmosphere. And many of us remember that. It was the early bird of its era, but maybe more towny. I don't know if that's possible. The early bird we haven't really mentioned, but that started out at Cops Hill and
Roy Cogswell.
Yeah, Roy Cogswell
yeah.
started that.
And the final thing I just wanted to reiterate, which I'm not sure if we got on the recording, was that Ridgefield was a dining destination for many years, going back very early. And Jack's research found 17 restaurants here in 1955, 35 in 1993, 46 in 2015, and Dan said there are over 80 restaurants here in Ridgefield today. Jack, could you just say a couple brief words about that history, about why Ridgefield became a dining destination?
Well, I'm not exactly sure what made it become a dining destination, except that it's a scenic, historic town, and people wanting to get out of the city like to come here because of its altitude, clean air. We tend to forget today what New York City was like back in the days of no emission controls or anything like that, coal furnaces, and it just horses,
Cigarette smoking.
But so people liked coming here for the fresh air. So there were places like the Inn on West Lane, the Elms Inn, which was an old one from the late 1800s. Outpost Inn. Eleanor Roosevelt used to drive over herself to eat at the Outpost Inn. Fox Hill Inn, Stonehenge. They were all considered very good restaurants that people would drive a long distance to get to.
And even the surrounding areas today, the other towns are really restaurant poor certainly compared to Ridgefield. It was probably even worse, more so back.
Well,
in the
Wilton,
years.
of course, had a big problem, and that's
No sense.
it was a dry town.
You were dry until when?
Had a problem.
I remember they were dry when I was a kid. When did they open up?
Only about 15 years ago.
Thank you so much. And we also mentioned that some of the oldest buildings that had restaurants operating in them that are still in operation today include the Hideaway, which is located here next to the Historical Society, which has had a restaurant in there since the 30s. The Benjamin Building has had a restaurant since 1938. And Venice, right, the 1970s. And the Mariner seems to be one of the oldest continuously operating restaurants in town.
And much of the inside is the same as it was.
And I just want to mention Genoa is that's my to-go place when I'm out and about. And they've been here since '82, and they used to be behind the mobile, or next to the
Where
mobile.
Flossie's market was.
Yeah.
Right?
Genoa's still around?
Oh, yeah.
Wayside.
Oh,
Where?
it's in
Wayside
Cops Hill.
Wayside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was a kid.
It's in Cops Hill, and it's,
Oh, that's the same one. I didn't know they were.
Yeah,
I thought it was just the same
they
name.
moved.
No,
Yeah, they
same
moved.
one.
and then they expanded, I forget what was next door, a frame shop?
Photoshop.
Was it
Photoshop.
Photoshop, yeah, Photoshop.
Or something.
Huh. Yeah, I knew, but I didn't realize they were actually. I just thought it had the same name.
No, same family,
Huh.
Rocco, and his
Yeah.
wife, Belle, and,
Yeah.
you know,
There's some.
They have the best
Lou.
food.
yeah, oh, yep. So
Yeah,
that's-
I didn't.
Thank you.
We never covered motels and hotels, but I guess that's another.
Oh yes, that's for another day. So I'd like to invite you to our next gathering, which is going to be here next month, Tuesday, May 21st at 10 o'clock. And the topic for that discussion is going to be military service in Ridgefield. So we're going to talk about veterans from this community, from those who served in the colonial wars through the present day, and how we honor them through the Memorial Day Parade, and also our veterans groups here in town, the VFW, American Legion. So please think of those stories if anyone in your family served in the military. If you have military service yourselves, please bring those stories to share for our next discussion here at the Ridgefield History Club on Tuesday, May 21st at 10 o'clock. If you'll just give me 2 seconds, I would like to repeat the introduction, and I don't think we got that, just so we could get that for the historical record. Hello everyone, I'm Stephen Bartkus, the Executive Director of the Ridgefield Historical Society, and I'd like to welcome you to the Ridgefield History Club here at the Scott House. We're at 4 Sunset Lane in Ridgefield, Connecticut, and today's date is Tuesday, April 16th, 2024, and today we are talking about Ridgefield restaurants, past and present. Thank you all, and we will see you next time.